specific to what's before the council.
I'm gonna try to clear some of this up for you.
State your name, please.
I'm sorry, I'm Scott Lopez. I live at 1734 Duchamp Road. Right here's what I'm handing y'all. This is, which I'm gonna explain later, which is just some of the logs that we have of Mr. Broussard continuing to illegally dump on the property. He was talking earlier in reference to about 20 trucks, but he's been operating since, as you can tell on the top, July 29th. I'm going to get into more of that. But I'd like to start off by saying thank y'all to those elected officials and employees of St. Martin Parish government for the jobs y'all have done and are currently doing to help keep St. Martin Parish a safe and beautiful place to live and raise our families. In the past, you have addressed the same issues in reference to rezoning in and around our residential neighborhood that we're here for today. And just like in the past, we hope to reject the request presented to you today. We're here today to voice our concerns as concerned residents and to let the zoning board know that we do not support the rezoning of the property on Duchamp Road. Right now, I want to pull my son up, Benjamin Cole. He's a 17-year-old graduate. He's a senior at Louisville High School. And one day he just emailed me something and said, "Dad, I wrote something I want to talk to y'all about." He sent it to me. I didn't touch it. This is his words from a 17-year-old's heart and mind. Benjamin Cole.
Good evening. My name is Benjamin Lopez, and I currently reside in Duchamp Road. I have enjoyed living here for almost 18 years because of our phenomenal neighbors and the scenery environment our location provides. However, I am convinced that it is no longer to be the home I cherish if it is rezoned. This is the reason why I'm here this afternoon. I'm here to discuss my opinion on how my neighbors and I feel about the rezoning of the mixed residential property 1675 Duchamp Road, Broussard, Louisiana, to an A2 agricultural field court, rangeland. Mr. Billy Broussard would like to develop this residential land to an operational property where he can keep livestock, storing and baling hay, growing mushrooms, and place tree debris and vegetable debris to feed the mushrooms. However, Mr. Billy Broussard has already started keeping livestock under his barn on the property located at 1675 Duchamp Road, even though he did not get the permit to do so as of today. Therefore, he says he's going to be putting just tree debris, but if he is already not following the restrictions on the property that are applied, who knows what he might transfer this dump into. Also, I'd like to mention that Mr. Billy Broussard has already started storing and selling hay from his open storage unit on the property. The storage building I'm talking about is a red rectangular building which advertises his company's name and his phone number, which can be found near the front of his property facing the road. I'd like you, the committee, to think of your current home and ask yourself, would I like a tree dump down my current road I live down? I think it's a pretty obvious answer. The answer is no. No one in his or her right mind would agree to want a dump near their home. And I can tell you exactly why nobody would. The first reason is because it's going to increase the driving activity down the road because of the big trucks that we'd be traveling to and from the property. On a rainy day, the big trucks will be flinging mud onto your nice, just paved road, which is already cracking due to the big trucks and the amount of traffic that continue to travel down it. Who wants that? If there is a sign at the end of each corner of a road stating, "No through trucks," it's obviously there for a reason. The reason is simply there to keep Duchamp Road from developing potholes, keep traffic from backing up at the railroad tracks, and I'm sure there are many more. If big trucks are allowed down Duchamp Road because of the rezoning of the property, the parish will be responsible for fixing every pothole that occurs, which is money that could be spent on other issues in our parish. However, the most important reason why the residents of Duchamp Road would not like the rezoning of the property is because of the simple fact that every property value will decrease for every property down Duchamp Road. Thank you for listening and giving me your full attention, and please ask yourself before voting. How would I feel about this situation if I was a current resident that lived down Duchamp Road? Thanks again, and have a great rest of the day.
Just about sums it up, but he did miss a few things. Okay? Mr. Broussard, is involved and owns businesses which profit from baling and selling hay, raising cattle to sell and or slaughtering, grooming trees, and a tree removal where he hauls the cut branches to a dump for disposal. And he also owns a demolition service where he tears down structures and removes the structure debris from the property and transports it to dumps. Benjamin touched base on a lot of the issues that we're here for today over the planning and zoning. Mr. Broussard's specific reason is to use the property to keep livestock, store and bale hay, grow mushrooms, place tree and vegetative debris to feed mushrooms. The thing Benjamin really didn't speak too much about is already, he speaks about keeping the livestock there already and doing the hay deal. But he didn't explain too much about Mr. Broussard ignoring the land restrictions and illegally operating his businesses since he purchased the land, or how he has also been dumping and allowing other companies and people to dump on his property illegally since he purchased the land. The list I handed y'all is what the neighbors have gathered just by the time we've been there, okay? We started noticing this and we started taking pictures. Starting July 29th and continuing to December 4th, which is approximately 4 months, which Mr. Broussard is correct. After December 1st, we haven't been seeing his trucks. We have eyewitnesses, pictures, videos proving that Mr. Broussard has been illegally dumping tree debris from his company on the property and allowing other companies to do so as well. We have pictures of Mr. Broussard's tree service trucks actually dumping on the property. We have videos of Mr. Broussard on an excavator located by the dump and placing tree debris into a small pond located already on the property. We have pictures of mud on the roadway from vehicles leaving Mr. Broussard's property already. We have pictures of Mr. Broussard's tree service truck pulling a trailer with his man lift and other heavy equipment belonging to his tree service, which is stored at his location already. We have Mr. Broussard is also storing the big trucks and heavy equipment for his tree service there, and he's advertising for his company on the billboard which he stores his hay in. Correct me if I'm wrong, but obviously Mr. Broussard has been illegally operating his tree service from the property since he purchased it on Duchamp. It wasn't until October 4th, 2021 when Mr. Broussard submitted his petition for his rezoning. So not only has Mr. Broussard been operating his business illegally on Duchamp, he's continued to operate after requesting his own, knowingly he was doing something wrong. Mr. Broussard continues to demonstrate his lack of respect to the laws and zoning of St. Martin Parish and his lack of respect to the residents of Duchamp Road and surrounding areas. I'm just like y'all. He never presented any information to us about the mushroom. Obviously, he has no information. And I also have drone footage, which I was going to show y'all tonight, and pictures of his trucks illegally dumping and hauling on the property. I do have it on my phone. If anyone y'all want to see it, I'll be more than happy to show y'all a few of them. But let me know. We all know the purpose for the request for the rezoning has nothing to do with keeping livestock, or storing baling hay, or growing mushrooms. Personally, I have no issues with Mr. Broussard raising a few head of cattle, or a couple horses, personally, for him or his family. Nor do I have any issues with him storing or baling hay for the few cattle he raises. His father lives right next to him. And yes, that's a topic for another day about zoning. But yes, he does operate a cattle farm next to my house. Nor do I have issues with him feeding the cows, well. But I do have an issue if he brings in a large number of cattle to raise as a business for profit, like he has been dumping illegally, running a business for profit. The main purpose is to dump trees and vegetation debris to, so say, feed the mushrooms. In other words, it's going to be to legally be able to get access for big trucks to his property via Duchamp Road so he could profit from the dumps, which he's already been doing. And I want to touch base more on the roadway issue. If Mr. Broussard wanted to dump cut trees, branches, debris from his business for profit, and the cane is located on his property purchase, why didn't you just say that? If Mr. Broussard wanted to sell hay, he bailed for profit, just say it. If he wanted to raise cattle there to sell or slaughter, just say it. I mean, that's his business, right? He bought the land. That's how he makes money.
Mr. Lopez, just to let you know, I think we have several people.
Okay, I'm gonna cut down to the meat and potatoes.
If you could.
We know why, because he has a better chance of getting rezoned to A2 agriculture. Mr. Broussard does not care about what he's doing. The agriculture, A2, yes, he can raise his cattle, store his hay, just like y'all said in the mushrooms, but nowhere in this permit uses defined in A2 zoning allows dumping of tree and vegetative debris. For Mr. Broussard to be able to do that, like you said, DEQ also specifically states that the placing of tree and vegetative debris falls under type 3 facility, which is in I3 zoning. Mr. Broussard is only doing this so he can make profit. He knows it would be much easier to convince people for A2 versus heavy industrial. I'd like to know one good thing that it does for Duchamp Road. It won't help the condition of the road and traffic. The integrity of Duchamp Road is not designed to handle the weight of the heavy trucks. Y'all talked earlier about the width of Duchamp Road. I measured a width on LA 347 around milepost 12, which is a couple miles north of the sugar mill heading to Parks. The measurement on the state highway is 23 foot 11 inches from fog line to fog line, which Duchamp Road doesn't have. And from edge of roadway to edge of roadway is 28 feet. From edge of pavement to edge of pavement. Duchamp Road in front of my residence measures a whopping 18 foot 3 inches with no improved shoulders and very little unimproved shoulders, which the road is already breaking up and depleting quickly because of all the traffic and big trucks that travel through there, cutting across from 182 to 92-1, which is hence why it's posted no through trucks. It's also going to increase the number of crashes at the intersection of Duchamp Road and LA 182, which we all know very well about because there are already a lot of traffic. With the railroad, it's not regulated with a red light. It's going to be due regard for public safety. Just the other day, the 18-wheeler got stuck on a railroad track. It happens regularly right there. There is a purpose why the signs are there. It won't help with drainage. And I'd like to thank Mr. Broussard for the little he done with the drainage. But obviously, if you're going to continue to fill the ponds, the beautiful ponds located back there, with tree debris, it's going to, at the end of the day, mess up our drainage. It won't help the environmental and wildlife. We've been seeing we've been seeing a bald eagle fly there. It will increase the risk of the influx of termites in residential areas, just like you said earlier in Lafayette Parish. But nobody brought up about it catching on fire, which is going to destroy our environment and our kids and the health and safety with asthma and other medical issues, just like the town of Scott is going through right now with that dump. Internal combustions. It seems to be that mysteriously lightning strikes every landfill around here so they could burn trees. What I do know is Mr. Broussard will only be the person to profit from this. And by doing so, it will destroy the roads, endanger traveling motorists, lower our property values, contaminate our environment, and destroy our wildlife. We'll end it at this. A very smart and wise man who is a very good friend of mine once told me, you can paint a pretty picture with shit, but at the end of the day, it will still stink. And no doubt, that is what Mr. Broussard is attempting to paint for y'all his picture today. Thank you again for listening and giving me your full attention. God bless, be careful driving home, and have a safe and yes, sir.
You said something that hasn't come up before. You said other people have been seen dumping trees there?
Yes, sir. I think, well,
Have you seen
would people please stand that have been witnessing the trucks dumping?
other, not Mr. Broussard, other trucks?
Yes, sir, we have. It was a purple dump truck, which I have a picture of.
Okay, what's up, all right.
Yes, sir. I have pictures.
Please give me a copy of that.
I sure will. But I know Miss Kathy. Miss Kathy Howell?
Yeah.
Miss Kathy Howell, I'm going to throw a curveball. She wants to speak real quick. We just have one or two other people. I told her, she lives directly across from the landfill, from Mr. Broussard's property. Okay? She wanted, and this is a curveball, she didn't know I was doing this, but this goes to show you she's gonna nip it from the hip and explain to y'all what she sees also.
Thankfully, rezoning has been denied.
Parish Council has it.
Just for the record, I'm here as a concerned resident. Thank you.
Mr. Broussard, those ponds that you talk about on your property, those are not ponds, those are dirt pits.
Ma'am, you can't. Order. Quiet. Exit quiet, please.
At this time, we have a motion by Mr. President to adjourn, seconded by Mr. Taylor. Meeting adjourned.